This is Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on.
Good evening and happy St. Patrick's Day. Now, the party isn't quite over for those celebrating the holiday out on the town tonight. Amanda Ketchledge found out lots of people are taking full advantage of all things Irish today, and they're in luck with some free options to get home safely.
We're having green beer tonight, and we're having some Irish car bombs, and we're just having fun with friends.
St. Patrick's Day doesn't mean you need to be Irish to celebrate.
We get dressed up. I don't drink, but I love to enjoy the festivities with everybody.
With four-leaf clovers, the color green, leprechauns, and plenty of partying, people from all over are out and about tonight. Wells Avenue is just one of those places to be for the festivities. Several Irish pubs look forward to this day, like Rapscallions.
Every year we have a countdown sign in our bar area. We count down to St. Patrick's Day 365 days a year, so we pretty much wait for this since last March.
The bar is packed with beer, kegs, and plenty of plastic cups ready to go. All hands are on deck while the busy crowd is bringing in the holiday festivities.
Happy St. Patrick's Day! People are celebrating all things Irish, but one thing people shouldn't do tonight, push their luck on Nevada roadways.
There are a couple ways to get home safely without chancing it. RTC buses will run free for another hour until midnight. AAA will be offering their Tipsy Tow program that takes you home within 10 miles without being a member all the way through 6 a.m. And of course, there's always the option of calling a taxi.
It starts out just for the bail amount, $3,000, but looking long term after court fees, insurance, you're looking at about $6,000 your first time offense, DUI.
Covering the story, Amanda Ketchledge, Channel 2 News.
Well, we have new information tonight on the death investigation in Carson City that we first reported this evening. Deputies responded this morning to the hillside near the intersection of Roop Street and Winnie Lane after a hiker reported seeing a body. There, they found a pair of men's shoes and an exposed foot. The sheriff's office says the body is mostly decomposed and was buried inside of a sleeping bag about 2 feet deep. They say any identifying features like gender or age are pending an autopsy tomorrow. Deputies are also looking into reports of people missing in the Carson City area. A pedestrian is recovering tonight after being hit by a car, and the Nevada Highway Patrol is asking for help finding the driver. It happened in the area of Sun Valley Boulevard near 5th Avenue just before 5 a.m. on Sunday. Troopers say a vehicle was heading north when it hit a pedestrian and took off. The pedestrian was hospitalized with cuts and broken bones. The vehicle is described as a red sedan or small pickup, possibly a Mazda, with damage on the right side. If you know anything about it, call the Highway Patrol at 688-2500. New tonight at 11, as the drought in the West continues, California officials have approved to extend and expand water regulations. Under the new rules, residents can't turn sprinklers on every day. At restaurants, customers must ask for water, and for hotels, they have the option to decline fresh towels and sheets each day. Local water departments must enforce these rules and fine offenders up to $500 per violation. And while the drought has not quite hit Nevada as hard as it is in California, we are nearing the end of a fourth dry winter. Our Chief Meteorologist Mike Alger joins us now in the Weather Center. Mike, is there any relief in sight?
No, there really isn't. I mean, we're really getting to that time of year where we have had some fairly wet periods late March and throughout the month of April. But when you really stack it up, I don't think that there's much of a hope of us finishing on anything, but at least a relatively dry winter overall, and possibly, as you mentioned, a very, very dry winter. This could be the driest, certainly, of the four so far. Now, outside at this point, our winds have died down a little bit. You don't see much happening down here in the mountains. Still a little bit of breeze on the mountaintops themselves, but I just don't see much more than variable amounts of cloudiness. This is kind of the frustrating thing about it, especially with our need for water, is that we're seeing a whole bunch of cloud cover come across the area, but almost no, if any, precipitation. We got this one low sitting down here that's kind of a split off of this second one here, and the band that came across us really didn't do much. This low is going to move up a little bit and possibly give us a chance of some southern Sierra, maybe central Sierra thunderstorms or showers tomorrow, but that's really about the size of it. Other than that, still mild temperatures, a little bit cooler than yesterday, but 67, almost 10 above average, and we're not cooling off that quickly. We're at 51. Now, last night we only got down to 50 all night long. We will be cooler tonight across the area. We'll probably start things off at about 40 degrees in the morning, but still a pretty mild start to it and a fairly mild finish. We'll tell you the temperature profile for the rest of the week coming up here in just a few minutes.
Looking around the nation, a Penn State fraternity has been suspended after police say members used a Facebook page to post photos of nude women online. Police don't think the women knew those photos were being taken. Chris Van Cleve has the story.
The Kappa Delta Rho fraternity at Penn State University has been suspended for a year. Police say its members ran an invitation-only Facebook page that featured photos of nude and partially nude women who appear to be asleep or passed out. Investigators say a former fraternity member tipped them off.
We're able to capture some images, some graphic images, some very disturbing images.
The page also included comments from those who could view it, some bragging about sexual acts. A search warrant claims some photos show drug use, including cocaine, marijuana, and ADD medication. Police say the secret Facebook page called 2.0 was created 8 months ago. That's after the original page was discovered by a victim who saw it when a fraternity member accidentally remained logged into Facebook. This is the second time in just days that social media contributed to a fraternity's downfall. Last week, a frat at the University of Oklahoma was suspended and 2 students expelled after a video of a racist chant went viral. Police at Penn State say they already have a list of potential charges.
We're looking at an invasion of privacy, which is a misdemeanor charge. We could also be looking at a harassment, which could be a summary or a misdemeanor level.
Investigators are urging victims and witnesses to come forward. Chris Van Cleve, Channel 2 News.
Also new tonight, the Secret Service says an envelope addressed to the White House has tentatively tested positive for cyanide. A spokesman for the Secret Service says an envelope found Monday in the White House's screening facility is being tested. Officials say there's a chance the envelope may have cyanide, but no injuries or illnesses have been reported. The Secret Service says there will be no additional comments for the time being. A grand jury has indicted a U.S. Air Force veteran accused of attempting to travel to Syria and join ISIS. Tyrod Nathan Webster Pugh from New Jersey will appear in a federal court in New York tomorrow. His attorney says Pugh will plead not guilty. Prosecutors say the 47-year-old had been fired from his most recent job as an airplane mechanic based in the Middle East, then tried to travel from Egypt to Turkey and cross the border into Syria. Well, the U.S. Presbyterian Church has approved a new definition of marriage that now includes same-sex marriage. The denomination is now the largest Protestant group to recognize same-sex marriage as Christian and allow same-sex weddings church-wide. The denomination has about 1.8 million members and 10,000 congregations nationwide. The new definition takes effect on June 21st. And for more on those stories as they develop, tune in tomorrow for Channel 2 News This Morning starting at 4:30 a.m., followed by CBS This Morning beginning at 7. In the Nevada legislature, an assembly committee is listening to arguments over 2 bills that would change voter identification laws. AB 253 and AB 266 would require voters to show a picture ID with a name and signature on it. The IDs would be issued by the state, the U.S., or a federally recognized Indian tribe. They'd be like a driver's license or passport. Now, supporters of the bill say it will prevent voter fraud, while critics say it will only keep people from voting.
As long as Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and dead people are voting, we have a problem.
And the type of voter fraud that a voter ID law is supposed to eliminate is in-person voter fraud, and that is extremely rare. We almost never see anything like that.
If passed, the DMV says it would cost nearly $300,000 to implement a voter ID card system in the next fiscal year. That would drop to about $3,300 in the second year. Nevada lawmakers have also introduced a bill that would make physician-assisted suicide illegal. Senate Bill 336 was introduced yesterday and would allow terminally ill patients to take medication, ending their lives. Republicans and Democrats have backed the bill, which prohibits life insurance companies from canceling a policy if a patient decides to end their life. So far, only Oregon, Washington, and Vermont have passed similar legislation. And as the legislative session continues, stay with Channel 2 News on the air, online, and on Facebook and Twitter for continuing coverage. Well, fire crews are investigating the cause of a fire that damaged more than 100 condos early this morning. And with more than 30 rendered uninhabitable, dozens of people are in temporary homes tonight. The Reno Fire Department responded to the Lakeside Plaza condominiums around 3 this morning at the corner of Lakeside and Brinkby Avenue. 3 people were hospitalized, one of whom was taken to the UC Davis Burn Center for internal respiratory burns. Landon Miller was there and takes us inside to see the damage.
When we came in here initially, the smoke was down, about here.
Inside the Lakeside Plaza condominiums, the hall is covered in dark soot and charred debris scattered throughout. And to show you how hot it got inside of this place, this emergency light is completely melted, and this emergency exit site that was once above this door is now more. This too is just melted plastic.
This is what it looks like inside one of the wings, but this is what it looked like earlier this morning. Reno firefighters believe the fire began outside before working its way in and then up 3 stories.
We just got out. I mean, it was choking on the way going down the stairs.
Firefighters say many of those living in the complex were elderly, making evacuating them even more difficult.
There was some elderly people with walkers, people on oxygen.
But back inside the burned building, remnants of a chaotic morning. Melted smoke detectors, charred fire extinguishers, and more. Even X's marked on each door, a signal firefighters used to clear each room.
If it was open, we went in. If it was locked, we broke the door down.
Several pets died in the fire. Residents here say it will take some time to let the nerve settle down.
Scary. My legs are still shaking.
Covering the story, Landon Miller, Channel 2 News.
Now, along with the fire crews and paramedics who respond to fires like that one, you'll often find teams from the American Red Cross. Now, they respond to help residents find shelter and get back on their feet after losing their homes.
If you've never been to a house fire, they're extremely damaging. They're very emotional. Even if it's a smaller fire, the smoke damage in a home, the water damage, the damage that we have to cause to make sure the fire's all the way out, it's devastating.
Starting on Thursday, the Professional Firefighters of Nevada organization is running a fundraising campaign called Fire Hurts, Red Cross Helps. It aims to raise $100,000 in donations to help fund the local Red Cross branch for the next year. And you can donate anytime over the next month. We've posted a link for you to do that on KTVN.com or just give them a call at 702-369-3674. Still to come on Channel 2 News at 11, with nearly all the ballots counted in Israel tonight, we now have a clear winner in that nation's closely watched race for Prime Minister. Plus, 2 local tech companies are helping upgrade equipment for nonprofits in the area.
Well, sky's beginning to clear off just a little bit, but that doesn't mean we're going to have a lot of blue sky for the rest of the week. We'll tell you why coming up right after this.
You're watching Channel 2 News at 11, Northern Nevada's #1 newscast with Ariana Bennett. Sports with Garrett Dearborn and Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast. Channel 2 News continues with Chief Meteorologist Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast, broadcast certified by the American Meteorological Society.
Well, it looks like over the next several days here, we're going to see varying amounts of cloudiness and then some periods of sunshine. But the overall effect of it is going to be that I still think we're going to stay dry, unfortunately. And again, we're getting late enough in the year that even if we can get some storms into our area, it's probably not going to have a real significant effect on it. Today, our time warp showing the high clouds that were fairly thick throughout the day. In fact, we even had a couple of light sprinkles north of town. Earlier today, well, they were thinning out pretty much all day long, and I came outside here a little bit ago, peeked outside. We're actually seeing some stars out there. That's helping us cool off a little quicker than last night. We're still mild at 51 degrees. We don't have a lot of wind. It's out of the north about 9 miles per hour here in the valley, a little stronger on the mountaintops. Barometer is rising. We got a 32-degree dew point with a 48% relative humidity. High today 67, 3 or 4 down from yesterday, to low of 50. That 67 actually 9 degrees above average, although well shy of any kind of records. And the 50, of course, very, very warm. The official low for the day may be slightly less than that if we can get below 50 by midnight. But tomorrow morning certainly will be cooler than last night, but not cold certainly for the time of year. You can see the band of cloudiness finally moving on by. We're getting a little bit of a dry slot in here temporarily. We'll probably see some more clouds move in throughout the afternoon periodically here and there. But generally speaking, it's a dry trend with more sunshine probably than we've seen over the last few days. Although this ridge of high pressure is not real built up at this point. We're probably going to see, like I say, every once in a little impulse. Plus, we've got this low sitting down here just off the screen. Now, that low tomorrow is going to tuck itself, move up a little bit. That circulation around the top side of it is going to put a little bit of focusing effect along with relatively warm temperatures, so that possibly showers or even a thunderstorm could happen, pop up along the mountains, and it probably won't get any further north in the south end of Lake Tahoe. And then that clears out of here. That low continues to kick on out. We dry everything out on Thursday, and we'll really be looking at mostly sunny skies all across the viewing area, with just some clouds coming in again over the weekend, but nothing at this point that really signals we're going to get much of a chance, if any, for any kind of showers. Temperature-wise, 60s and 50s in the southern half of the state, northern part of the state here. 60s pretty much everywhere, and nobody getting below the freezing mark, although we will see somewhat cooler low temperatures in the 30s. 40 for our low here in Reno. Again, that's 10 degrees cooler than last night, but still a little warm on average. 65 for our high, same in Carson City, with low 60s at Lake Tahoe. Neighborhood temperatures, again, we'll get down into the 30s once you get out of the middle of town, but nobody dropping below freezing. Fairly mild night tonight. Highs tomorrow in the mid-60s pretty much universally. So for Lake Tahoe tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, I think. An isolated afternoon shower or even a thunderstorm, but again, most of that south of the lake itself. East wind to 10 and a high, almost 60 degrees. For Reno, we'll see partly cloudy skies. Could even be mostly sunny in the morning with a few clouds in the afternoon. Northeast winds to 10. Our high tomorrow 65, sunny and 71 on Thursday. Friday, we're right back up in the mid-70s. And again, we're going to kind of repeat this process of bringing these little pieces of things in. They'll throw some clouds our way, drop our temperature a few degrees, but still generally mild, generally dry. And the next shot at really anything better than a 1 in 5 chance or up to that would be next Tuesday at 64 and maybe a 1 in 5 shot.
So far, not the miracle March we were hoping for.
It's pretty unmiraculous if you look at that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mike. Coming up, we'll take a look at the outcome of a political face-off in Israel and what comes next as we look around the world. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Looking around the world now, the results of Israel's elections came in less than an hour ago. Now, the final results show a resounding victory for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party, meaning Netanyahu will retain his seat. Now, this comes after that race was in a dead heat for much of the day. At Netanyahu's headquarters, supporters were celebrating. Hours after the polls closed, Netanyahu declared victory. But his opponent told supporters they would wait for the final results, saying that everything is still open. Voters, including Israel's Arab minority, turned out in record numbers. Some opponents hope to turn the election into a referendum on Netanyahu.
As a Palestinian Arab minority in Israel, we think we have a very important role in this election.
The prime minister made a final appeal on social media to shore up his hardline voters just hours before polling stations closed. The Elias family says they support Netanyahu.
She says the Arabs will take over if Netanyahu is not elected.
Netanyahu reiterated he would never allow the creation of a Palestinian state, backtracking on his own previously stated position. His new stance could further strain relations with the Obama administration. Herzog mounted a campaign of change, promising to restart peace talks with the Palestinians and repair ties with the U.S. Well, with nearly all the votes counted, Likud appeared to have earned 30 out of Parliament's 120 seats. Exit polls had shown a tight race with the opposition Zionist Union, but it wound up with just 24 seats. Prime Minister Netanyahu will now have a relatively easy time putting together a coalition government with right-wing and religious allies. Well, American officials are investigating after a U.S. Predator drone went down in Syria. The Syrian government claimed today that it shot down the drone in a province along the Mediterranean coast, but that has not yet been confirmed. Drones are being flown over Syria to provide reconnaissance of certain parts of that country. Well, French experts have ruled out the theory that radioactive polonium poisoning caused the death of Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. Palestinians have long suspected Israel of poisoning Arafat in 2004, which Israel denies. Arafat's widow filed a legal complaint in France seeking an investigation into whether her husband was murdered. A French prosecutor said this week that any traces of polonium found on Arafat's body after it was exhumed came from his tomb and are not evidence of a poisoning. Coming up next, some local nonprofits are getting a technology makeover. More on the program and how it may help a cause that's close to you. Welcome back. Two local technology giants are teaming up to better local nonprofits here in Northern Nevada. It's called an IT makeover. Now, the Northern Nevada Literacy Council knows just how far a $20,000 investment in technology can go. They were awarded the makeover in 2011 and used it to better their facility and the community.
The IT makeover allowed us to buy computers and upgrade the ones that we had so that students and the public could come to our school and take that test, which is such a pivotal milestone in their lives.
They became a testing center and have helped thousands of students, young and old, get high school diplomas and better jobs. But program organizers say how the money is put to use is decided on a case-by-case basis. If you're interested in applying, we have a link set up on our website. The deadline is March 31st. The RTC has been trying out a revolutionary new electric bus on the streets of Reno this week. This 60-foot-long bus is the world's largest battery-powered bus and has been running up and down the South Virginia route. It has a 170-mile range, so it only needs one charge per day. The RTC says they will probably get a grant to have this bus here permanently.
We don't want Reno to be about smog. We want Reno to be about clean air.
Now, the bus would join the current fleet of 4 electric buses, and the RTC has plans for 4 more of those by early 2017. Coming up in sports, the high school baseball season is underway. Garrett takes a look at Galena's visit to Douglas this afternoon. But also the NCAA tournament tipped things off tonight with First Four action. Highlights are next in sports.
Now, here's Sports Director Garrett Dearborn with Channel 2 Sports.
Well, the high school baseball season is underway, and this afternoon the Galena Grizzlies saw a fantastic pitching performance from Nate Berry in Douglas's house. Picked this up in the second, no score, and Berry getting a little offensive support. The Grizz send that one to left field, and that'll score a run. And they're up 1-0. Next batter is Travis Bohall, and he's liking left field as well. Here's is pretty good over there, so he sends it that way, and that'll bring home another RBI. The Grizz are rolling, and as I said, Nate Berry looked real good. Threw a no-hitter as the Grizz win in 6, 11-0. And speaking of baseball, the Douglas Tigers may have had a rough go of things today, but one of their players is an absolute inspiration. Due to a stroke at birth, Tanner Valenzuela has never had the use of his right hand, but he plays anyway, and really well. Dallas Kolodny caught up with him this afternoon, and he'll have his story coming up in tomorrow's sports. Well, the Wolfpack baseball team is ranked 29th in the country and was looking for its 16th win of the season at Sacramento State, and the Pack gets the 6-2 win to move to 16-4 and tie the 1994 squad for the best start through 20 games in school history. The Pack opens up a 4-game set with Cincinnati beginning tomorrow at Piccoli. First pitch is set for 4 o'clock. How about a little basketball? Bighorns taking on Rockets affiliate Rio Grande Valley tonight, hoping to end a 4-game skid. Didn't happen. First quarter, David Ware opened from beyond the arc and nails it. He had 20 points and 7 rebounds. Later in the quarter, Horns moving the ball well, eventually to Cameron Ayers. He sinks the 3. He finished with 12, but the Horns skid is 5. 146-136. They're at Santa Cruz on Saturday. College NCAA's play-in / first 4 or first round of the tournament tipping off tonight. There's a battle of 11 seeds. Mississippi and BYU. The Cougars' Tyler Haas had a huge game with a game-high 33. It was all Cougars in the first. Anson Winder, the 3-ball, gave the Cougars the 17-point lead. But the Rebels stormed back in the second, tied at 82s, right around 2 minutes left. Stephon Moody, the 3-ball, he had 26. And Ole Miss advances to play 6th seed Xavier Thursday in the round of 64. 16 seed Hampton, by the way, advanced to the second round as well tonight. And the second round tips off Thursday morning at 9 a.m. right here on KTVN, CBS, and the Turner Networks. We will have no 5 or 6:30 newscast, but we will have a special evening edition right around 9 o'clock when the final game finishes. And of course, the shocking news from the NFL came last night when Chris Borland announced he's retiring after 1 season in the NFL because he's worried about his future health. Just a year after being drafted in the 3rd round by the Niners out of Wisconsin and leading San Francisco in tackles, Borland notified the Niners he doesn't think the rewards of pro football outweigh the risk it poses to his health.
Well, I think it was a culmination of a number of things. It's a unique decision to me. I'd done a lot of research of what I had experienced in my past, projected to what I would have to do to be the linebacker I wanted to be, and for me it wasn't worth the risk. Not to say it's a certainty. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. I hope I am wrong, honestly. But for me, it was the right decision.
Borland had received a touch over $1 million of his 4-year, $3 million rookie deal. It's unknown whether the Niners will attempt to get back any of his $617,000 signing bonus.
That's an interesting choice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But hey, I mean, he must have really felt like his health might be in danger.
Yeah,
He said
their
he had a
bodies
mild
take a beating.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And they sign up for it.
True.
They do sign up for it, and he said, I'm not signing up for it, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Thanks, Garrett. Coming up next, Mike will be back with a last look at your forecast. You're watching Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on. Well, maybe St. Patty's Day, but we didn't get the Irish rain.
No, we didn't get it. You talk about the Miracle March, more mediocre March it looks like here. The way things are shaping up here, we might get a sprinkle next week, and it's not going to be real big. It is going to be warm, however, and obviously tonight we just want to encourage everybody, do that tipsy toe or whatever. Just drive safe out there and be careful on
Absolutely,
the
amen to
roads.
that. Okay. Good night, everyone.